Well, staying with the Green Chamber, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, says the House will not approve future budgetary allocations to any development finance institution that fails to demonstrate accountability, transparency, and measurable economic impact. The Speaker, who was represented at the inauguration of the ad hoc committee set up to investigate the operations, funding, and performance of DFIs in Nigeria, says public funds meant for economic growth must be managed with transparency and discipline, stressing that every disbursement should translate into visible outcomes such as job creation, industrial expansion, agricultural productivity, and SME support.
These institutions were set up to boost the growth of key sectors such as agriculture, manufacturing, exports, and small and medium enterprises. They are intended to provide financing where ordinary commercial lending cannot meet the needs of industry or national development plans. When they operate efficiently, they help build jobs, expand innovation, and improve living standards for citizens.
These concerns compel us to ask clear and objective questions. We must understand how funds allocated to DFIs have been managed and applied, the guiding criteria used in selecting beneficiaries and implementing programs, the extent to which these funds have reached the businesses, sectors, communities, and citizens they are intended to support, the measurable outcomes, jobs created, industries strengthened, exports expanded, and livelihood improved. And crucially, the systems in place for loan recovery and recycling of funds. Have the facilities been repaid? Are funds revolving as designed? Or are public resources becoming stranded and unable to re-enter productive use?
I wish to assure the committee that the Central Bank of Nigeria will provide whatever support may be required to ensure that the committee carries out its assignment diligently and successfully. Finally, Mr. Speaker, Chairman, it is our hope and belief that the findings of this committee at the end of the day will provide invaluable lessons that will reposition our development finance institutions for greater impact so they act as the catalyst they were meant to be.
Well, for more on the tension in the House of Representatives amid claims of lack of funding, non-implementation of capital projects in the 2024 as well as the 2025 budgets, and shutdowns, I'm joined by Sergius Ogun, a former member of the House of Representatives. Thank you so much for being on the news tonight, although we say lawmakers are never formal.
Oh, well.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, I mean, you have been here before. When you see that the House of Representatives is closing abruptly or they are rancor because of lack of funding for capital projects, in fact, they complained that their constituency projects have now been abandoned because there's no funding. What do you make of that, especially when we have layered budgets running at the same time?
Yeah, well, I feel for my colleagues, I know how it is. Like we say, the primary purpose of parliamentarians is basically to make laws and then also speak up for their constituencies. But that's not the case in Nigeria. When you go back to the constituency, people are not asking you the number of bills you have sponsored or the number of motions. They want to see the projects you are doing on ground. And the year is coming to an end. Members are going to go home for Christmas. What do they have to show to their constituents? And don't forget, next year we're going to enter the election year, because by May, June, there will be primary elections preparatory to the 2027 elections. So the campaign for the primaries actually starts from December this year. So there's going to be a lot of sharing of rice. So before you even start sharing rice and all that, you ought to show them what you have been doing. So it's not enough to say that, I have it in the budget. That's story. That's like they will say, Dogo Torenche, that's long story. Nobody wants to hear that. They want to see things on ground. And most of them would have gone to say, look, I have X, Y, Z in the budget. Don't worry. You complain about water, I have it in the budget. You complain about a particular road, I have it in the budget. You can't be saying that for going to a year. So I feel their pains, and I hope hopefully they will be able to take care of that as soon as possible.
Honorable Senators, I believe you were in the 9th National Assembly.
8th and 9th.
8th and 9th National Assembly. Was this ever a hurdle for you? Was this ever a challenge you experienced as a National Assembly? I don't recall, but if you did, I mean, what was responsible? What could possibly be responsible for lack of funding for capital projects when you have reportedly 2024 budget, 2025 budget running at the same time? Yeah. And it's November of 2025. We haven't seen the 2026 budget from the president.
I think it's just the state of our finances. I just pray that the government can complain. Like people will say, the president announced removal of subsidy. Most of us were in support of removal of subsidy. Way back in my days in the private practice, remove subsidy and manage the resources well. He announced that. That was very audacious of him. Then you said that you're going to make savings from the removal of subsidies. What people are asking now, where are the savings?
It says there are savings, and governors say they are receiving triple of their fat.
Yeah, governors ideally...
And they are pushing these savings also to the NEL fund, the school, student loan.
Okay.
With non-interest. I mean, those are things that we hear from the presidency and the government.
Okay, so how can that take away the pains of the removal of subsidy? Same thing with the floating of the dollars. So, and then, Band A, we are paying more for electricity now. So most of the subsidies have been removed.
Yes.
So we ought to get something back in return. And people are not getting this. So I can understand when people are frustrated about the fact that you say you are going to remove subsidies, now you are still borrowing money. People are looking for the savings. To talk about the states, the matter of fact is the money that were being used for subsidy was actually federation money. Wasn't that of federal government alone? For the whole state, 36 states, Abuja, and the local governments. Are
you saying it's wrong for states to claim they are receiving more monies now, and for the federal government to also be claiming that those subsidy savings are not going to the states?
That's the true position. But you see, it depends on how they put it out there. When they were selling this thing to us, it was that, look, we will have savings from the wastages or the stealing under the subsidy regime. They were going to channel this money into the economy and we will not be borrowing. But now you have done that supposedly and you are still borrowing. That's why people are asking the questions. The truth is that money, the subsidy money, was actually federation money. It didn't belong to the federal government alone. So yes, the state government and the local government are right to get their money now. It rightfully belongs to them. But we are making savings. You are not floating, you floated the dollar now. You have savings. You are not subsidizing electricity anymore or as such. There are savings. So where are these savings? That's the question.
That's a question. And let me take you back to when you were in the Green Chamber, because the late Muhammad Buhari, former president of Nigeria, his administration celebrated the sticking to the calendar year of the budget. You know, he did celebrate that, particularly in his second term, when the budgets were sent to the National Assembly, so to say, early enough. But my question to you is, with the situation we have, where should the blame go? I mean, we have lawmakers who are supposed to have oversight functions and to hold the executive to account. We're not seeing that enough. Or are Nigerians wrong to be asking, what exactly is the role of the 10th National Assembly in the midst of all of this?
Well, when I was leaving the National Assembly 2023, there are some press people that came to my office and I said to them, if you think the 9th Assembly is rubber stamp, the 10th Assembly will be rubber stamp Pro Max. And that's what's playing out now. So to go back to the budget.
So you saw into a crystal ball?
Yeah, it was obvious because the way they were preparing the leadership that were going to take over, it was obvious that they were looking for people that they could easily manipulate as executive. So it was very clear. When they were celebrating, when the APC government were celebrating the January to December budgets, it didn't mean anything to some of us. And we spoke up. In the days of Saraki Dogara in the 8th Assembly, they were saying that the budgets get passed around May, June. Okay, we passed the budget in December from the 9th Assembly, Buhari's second term. Then the previous year will still be running. Then the new budget will not run. till maybe around that same May, June. So there was nothing changed. And then by the time he was leaving 2022, 2023, we started running 2 budgets concurrently.
Okay. Before I let you go, there's a House to Rescue Coalition, which I believe you're a member of.
Yes.
And you're calling for full electronic collation and transmission of election results. What concrete steps can the National Assembly do to ensure that? I mean, you also tried that when you're in the National Assembly, it didn't work. So why will it work now? Why are you calling for it now when you could not implement it?
We actually worked Section 60 sub 5 of the Electoral Act 2022 says clearly you should transmit the result from the polling unit to the server. That's the law as it stands today.
But yeah, here calling for it again. So something is off.
We have heard that they want to go manual because they're in the process of amending the Electoral Act now. And that they want to just go completely manual. And we are saying, no, we can't go back.
Okay.
We should be talking about how to improve on what we already passed. Because don't forget, the 2010 Electoral Act was repealed. The 2022 now, it was reenacted. So it's a new law. So why are you not taking out the things? We are progressive. We should be moving forward and not going backward. So why are you not talking about section 60?
Yes.
1 to 4 is actually manual. How you vote, how the Form EC8 is signed, countersigned, and given to polling agents and the police and all that. But it's section 5, sub 5, 60 sub 5,
yes,
that says you should transmit the results
electronically.
So now if you are saying you want to go manual completely, we are saying no.
Okay.
We can't do that.
All right. We'll keep our eye on the ball as regards this conversation you are highlighting tonight, but we must thank you for throwing light on the subject matter tonight. Thank you so much, Honorable Sergius Ogun, a former member of the House.